We can report to the Bahamian people that we have improved our fiscal outlook, we have exercised fiscal restraint that has led to economic growth, and we've restored confidence in the ability of the government to pursue responsible fiscal management.
What we can categorically say about this latest budget is that the F&M strategy of taxing, borrowing, and focusing on putting numbers over people has inflicted untold pain and suffering on the Bahamian people.
Any act, in the chair's estimation, where a stranger would enter the precincts of the parliament and toss objects onto the floor of the parliament must be considered a very, very serious breach.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley, and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight. You saw there excerpts from an eventful day in the House of Assembly as the budget communication was presented. Reducing the deficit, securing positive economic growth, no increases in value-added tax, new duty-free concessions, and a new budget website. Some of the highlights of the communication delivered by Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Peter Turnquest. Our Fern Carey leads off team coverage of the budget communication.
From no increase in value-added tax to tax fairness and structural reforms, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Peter Turnquest, laying out plans for the country's finances in the upcoming fiscal year. As promised, Finance Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Peter Turnquest, indicating in his budget presentation that an increase in value-added tax is not on the government's agenda. And to shore up revenue shortfalls, he says an increased focus will be placed on tax administration and a revamping of the real property tax system, among others. That will pave the way for an additional boost of some $21 million to the public purse. Regarding the country's fiscal performance last year, the Finance Minister said the deficit was nearly halved in the first 10 months of the fiscal year.
The spike in total revenue was buoyed by a $245 million or 16.1% improvement in tax revenue to $1.8 billion as receipts from stamp taxes on financial and realty transactions more than doubled to $181.3 million, reflecting the conversion of taxation from value-added tax to stamp tax. Revenue from value-added tax grew by $123.5 million, or 21.5%, to $699.3 million, reflecting the rate increase from 7.5% to 12%.
Turnquest said the country's revenue intake amounted to some 18.8% of GDP in 2018-2019, with a number of factors designed to shore up revenue, including the establishment of a revenue enhancement unit.
Capital expenditure of $147.6 million was $55.5 million, or 27.3% lower over the 10 months to April 2018 when compared to the comparable period of the previous year. For the year as a whole, revenue is estimated to come in at $2.4 billion, some $238 million, or 9.0 percentage points lower than what was budgeted at the start of the fiscal year, largely on account of the new agreement with the gaming operators, the delayed implementation of the Revenue Enhancement Unit, and the concessions granted to hotels and contractors.
The Finance Minister said efforts continue to facilitate more accountability and resource management throughout the public service, citing personal emoluments, which account for some 30% of the country's finances. Turnquest says that system is under review.
That the budget included allocations for salaries that were no longer being paid. How is that possible? You have situations where the employment register is outdated and does not reflect some of the employees who retired, leave the public service, and move into pensioner status. Although these individuals are not being paid, their salaries are still being budgeted for. It is noteworthy to mention that personal emoluments constitute roughly 30% of the country's total expenditure. Therefore, over-budgeting in just this one area alone can reduce available spending in other key areas of the economy.
Nominees for a 5-member Fiscal Responsibility Council have been appointed, and they are expected to begin their work on July 1st. Their main objective, to promote fiscal discipline. Now, this budget is the first that will be enacted under the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2018. Fern Carey, ZNS Network News.